Emma, can you go back to who you were before you met the perpetrator and describe yourself to me, please?
Probably before I met him, I was a little bit lost. I was quite confident. I'd been in a long-term relationship that I liked the guy, but I didn't love him enough. So I suppose I was quite vulnerable when I met my perpetrator.
And when you met him, did you have any expectations or hopes about the relationship at the beginning?
I think it was a bit of a whirlwind, and it was a bit, I suppose I was looking to replace that other relationship.
So going back to that, what mattered to you the most at the time?
I suppose I wanted to feel noticed, feel loved, all the bits that I was missing from a previous relationship.
Did he give that to you in the beginning?
He did at first, massively. It was very interested in my past, very interested in what I was doing, would give me flowers unexpectedly, take me out, all sorts of off-the-cuff things.
When did that start to change?
I think it started to change when I fell pregnant with my daughter. I was really, really sick with my daughter, and when I had to go to the doctors because I just couldn't keep anything down, and I was given some tablets, but he wouldn't let me have the tablets. He would say, no, just keep eating and then just go to sleep. And then I suppose I thought that was him loving me, and if I had the tablets, maybe they would have affected my daughter. But I was so sick. I was just so sick. And then I'd just sleep, and then I realised that it probably wasn't quite meant in the way it was meant to.
And so did it feel unsafe at the time? Did it feel dangerous at all?
No, he just felt he was caring for me, just in a very different way to how he had before. But it felt like he was trying to look after me and my unborn daughter.
Do you think that was your way of trying to make sense of what was happening at the time?
Yes. I think I made that narrative to make me feel safer.
So tell me what it was like living with it every day then.
I think everybody says walking on eggshells as a thing, and there is no other words for me to put that into. It was trying to be careful, and doing as I was told. That's really the main bit.
What was he telling you to do?
Obviously, when I was pregnant with my daughter, he was I must go to sleep, I must do this, I must not have these tablets. When my daughter was born, it was very much on his terms. I had to go to the shops when he told me to go to the shops, when he would ring me to do errands, but not for us, for him, for car parts, for taking his money to go and pay for the T-bar and things like that. It was just very much, I was at home, so I must do these jobs for him.
Everything revolved around him?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you remember a time when things started to feel the most dangerous? Was it like an escalation or a period of time, or was it just one particular incident?
It started to feel unsafe just before we went on a family holiday. There were some things he had said, but when we went on holiday with his family, we were going to France, we were at the ferry. He was looking after his passport. I had mine and the children's. He misplaced his passport and he just berated me. He shouted, he screamed at me, all in front of his family, all in front of the whole of everybody waiting for the ferry. His family stood and did nothing until his stepfather looked in the car and found his passport. And I think I felt about a centimetre tall, and I just didn't know what to do. I wanted to cry, but I didn't for my babies.
Do you feel like if you had cried, it probably would have only escalated his behaviour?
Yes, because it would have just proved his point that I was useless.
And then what happened on the holiday? How did you continue?
The holiday was awkward. I didn't feel safe, but I was there with my babies. We had to make this family holiday. Eventually, my hair wasn't good enough. I'd used the wrong products in my hair. Why wasn't my hair like his sister's? He held my head under the shower and washed it. I asked for a breather and he just kept the water and held my head down. I kind of got through it. He left me alone while I tried to dry my hair. I remember crying, but trying not to because I still had both my children with me at the time. And then later on, his sister checked that I was okay, but we didn't really discuss anything.
So were other people around aware it was happening or having little inklings that something was going on?
I don't think they were aware. I think they were just aware that he had shouted at me in the middle of this ferry port. But I don't think they knew anything else.
What were you afraid of the most during this period of time? So being on holiday after these incidents?
I think I was just very isolated because I wasn't in the right country. I had none of my friends around me, none of my family around me. And I just felt unsafe. I didn't feel safe with his family. They'd watched him berate me, scream, shout, and they did nothing. They didn't even take my babies away or anything like that.
What was it like for you to carry that isolation alone?
You learn to live with the isolation. There's nothing you can do. You can only prepare for that isolation. I suppose at that particular incident in France, I didn't have my normal fallbacks, as in at home I could tell if he was going to come home angry by the way he drove into the driveway, by the way he slammed the garage doors. As France, it was more unpredictable. With that isolation, I didn't have anywhere safe to go to. I used to walk around the village in France, but it wasn't safe for me. I just needed to get away.
What parts of yourselves did you have to shut down in order to survive?
When there was a particular violent episode at home, in my own home, I learnt to not express any emotion. I learnt not to do anything without asking him first. I learnt from those garage doors, those driveways, that silence that he would come in with. You could read it and hear it in a way that I can't explain, and you just learn to submit to that.
With all this danger present physically and living within your body too, what was your point of, if I don't do something about this now, this is only going to continue to get worse?
I think when he assaulted me in my own home, it was in front of my children, who were 3 and 5. And I shut down, and my body wouldn't function like it was. And I still made those excuses for him. I had made him angry. That was my fault. And all I could do to function was to keep my children safe, which meant that I always had to stay with my children. I wouldn't leave them with him. So I'd make those excuses that I need to take them myself. I need to go to this place with them, or make sure my parents were around at least. And I think I did that to keep me, and especially them, safe. I think it wasn't until he left and the effects that it had on my children came out that I realised we needed far more help.
Do you remember what that time period was like after he left?
It's a strange thing, because yes and no. I remember certain things. I remember very much the practical things of what I had to do. Make sure, pay the bills, make sure the children were safe, let the school know. But the emotional side, I couldn't get a grip of. I had to be strong for my babies. And I had to keep things as normal as I could for them, but by doing that, I suppressed all my emotions.
Was life harder than you expected after leaving?
Yes. Yes, because because you get into a routine with abuse. When that abuse is expected, you're expecting it. You've got those, when they're at work, you've got that time to prepare yourself. You're getting ready, you're listening out for those cues, those text messages, how are they, or has he had a good day? When it becomes that post-separation abuse, it's too unpredictable. There's no rhyme or reason. And actually, in that respect, I felt less safe than I did with the predictability of being in that relationship.
It's tough to risk manage.
Yes, yes, especially when you're not just risk managing for yourself, you're risk managing for your babies.
What steps did you take to seek out help then from victim services, or did you reach out to victim services?
I was still very much blaming myself, and it wasn't until my daughter burst into tears and said to me quite openly, "Mummy, Daddy hurt you. He really hurt you. And that's unkind." And she just cried, as I did. And I realised that it was wrong, that abuse was wrong, that wasn't right. And I found online my local domestic abuse charity. I found your page, which helped tremendously, and my local domestic abuse charity were amazing, and they put in place support for me, but also for my children. They both had counselling to help them.
Would you say your children had a part to play in you realising that actually leaving to keep yourself safe, to keep you and the children safe, wasn't the same as seeking healing and recovery?
Oh, absolutely. My children have shown me far more resilience than I thought I ever had. They have given me strength in the way that they healed to help me heal.
So how important was it for you to be in community with other survivors whilst you were on this journey for yourself?
It was massively important. Abuse isolates you. You're told constantly that everything's your fault. To find someone, even if it's just silly things like, that feeling when you open the door, you don't want to open the door, you don't want to leave the car. Having somebody else say, "I felt that." That's all you need. You don't need any more of that story. You just need to go, "Yeah, I felt that. You're not on your own." Massive, massive importance.
Helps you feel a bit validated, doesn't it?
Yes, validation.
Yeah.
Key.
Safer in your emotions as well, allowing yourself to feel the emotions.
I think the validation allowed me to forgive myself. I didn't need to forgive anything else. I didn't need to forgive him. What he has done to me and my children is unforgivable. But what I needed to do is to forgive myself for not knowing those signs, for not seeing them straight away. But to forgive that, but to learn more so it never happens again.
So with learning to forgive yourself and reclaim yourself and relearn yourself, what's your relationship with yourself like now?
I'm far more kinder to myself. I allow myself to feel every emotion. I allow myself to be angry. I allow myself to cry. I allow myself to feel sad. I'm allowed to feel sad. I'm allowed to feel angry. I'm allowed to feel happy. And I'm allowed those feelings when I want those feelings. I think that's the important part.
So much self-compassion, right? Yeah. So what does real safety and freedom look like in your life now?
I think freedom and safety for both myself and the children are to feel freedom of having those emotions and expressing those emotions and knowing why we have them. And that safety of knowing the signs, knowing that we never want to go down that dark route ever again.
If you could talk to that version of yourself who was subjected to the abuse, what would you say to her?
That it wasn't her fault, that she is loved, and that she's far stronger than she ever realised.
What are you most proud of?
I'm massively proud of my children, how they have healed, how they are healing, how they are seeing the world. Massively proud of that. A little bit proud of myself to have helped them. But I think I'm proud of myself for getting the help to then help us to not just survive, but to thrive.